Welcome back to the bridge, guys. I got a fantastic guy here that I used to go to school with. Absolutely great guy, Tyler Libby. I give a longer intro to the people I interview, but I'll let him take it away. I think he can introduce himself better than I could.
I'm standing in the storm like never jumper cables. Come on. You can put me in a cage.
All right,
Got a
awesome,
ton of
Sam. Thank you so much for having me on.
definitely.
As Sam said, I went to high school with him, and man, we just started hanging out a lot and spending time, during the day, after and before school, and really got to know him and his heart for certain things. So, love what he's doing with the podcast. By the way, this is fantastic. Um,
Thank you.
but yeah, so I graduated high school 2 years ago, um, and didn't go to college. The unpopular opinion per se. And so I had a camera as a graduation gift, birthday gift, and started taking photos and videos, and realized like I could pursue a professional career with this. And
Mm,
one thing led to the next. I found myself at a music festival. I just asked, "Hey, can I bring my camera in?" Nothing crazy, and started shooting photos and fell in love with concert photography. And so from then, I'm like, dang, if there's a way that I can make money or make a living doing this, like I'm gonna chase after that. I'm gonna pursue it. So that was 2 years ago, and now I'm into wedding videos, senior photos, family photos, real estate photos, pretty much anything to do with photography and video. I'm there and I'm willing to do it. But again, that number one goal, and I'm sure we'll touch on this later, is to go on tour, be a tour photographer. That is kind of what I'm pushing for and what I'm hoping to
mm.
do. So,
Now, we got an interview coming out on Friday that we did with a bard, a rapper, both Ty and I know, fantastic guy. And one of the things we hit on was how can we be active in the culture? What type of impact do we have? We discussed my role really on the commentary side of things and the digging for questions. Bard's role being vested in the culture, being part of creating what's in our culture. How do you think the photography side of things impacts our culture, broadly speaking? Is there like any specific
oh,
areas, or there is it a more a broad type thing?
it's certainly a broad type of thing, but I mean, if you think about it, what you're scrolling through on Instagram, what you're seeing on, all these social media
Sure.
platforms, it's either a photo or video format. And so, the really cool thing is I get to kind of capture a moment, and then it's the way I see it, and it's the way that my brain has, perceived it, and so then I get to communicate that to the world. Now, the danger is you can totally twist that, and you
Mm,
can turn that. And with a whole darker intent, which we won't get a ton into that, but like, yeah, there's definitely an influence and a perspective that we have and a role that we have in the culture, and so I would say generally mine's very neutral on the photo side, as I'm just doing business with folks and everything like that.
sure.
So yeah.
Now, is there one specific area you usually are prioritizing right now? Is it social media side of things? I think you mentioned what weddings, senior photos, real estate, concerts. What's your
Yeah,
biggest market you're in right now?
right now is the weddings. Where I don't know, we're in Maine, as probably most of you know, and that's a huge
Mm,
destination wedding spot. And so people come from all over the nation to have a wedding here, and they find out what I do. And I don't know if they Google it. I don't know. All my referrals have been word of mouth, which has been insane. I haven't really marketed a ton, and
yeah.
so. But yeah, weddings is definitely what I make the most from, if you will, and definitely there's the biggest market for that because people are always getting married.
Sure.
So yeah.
Definitely. So you said weddings are the biggest, but I see a lot on your social media is like concerts. Do you have any
Yes.
gigs going with specific artists, or are you getting your name out there by photographing them yourself?
Yeah, yeah. So that's a great question. No, so this last summer I volunteered, and my advice as well to any startup photographers wanting to get into concert photography specifically, just volunteer, start doing stuff for free. And honestly, I'm
Mm,
still kind of in the middle of that, but trying to work my way out of that. But you'll be blown away, and I'm sure Sam has talked about the negative side of social media a ton, as you see on his stuff, and which is great. We need to be talking about that. But the
Mm,
positive side, social media is you have the whole world at your fingertips. People can see your photos and your
sure.
videos from all over. So this last summer, I'm at these festivals capturing these different artists. They don't know me, but then I'm tagging them on Instagram or um, Facebook and whatnot, and they're seeing it, they're resharing it, and then they, message me, hey, you got any more photos? You got any more videos from the day? And then I send them
Sure.
that way. And then so the cool thing was I started out, I think I did 3 or 4, I think I did 4 festivals this summer, maybe 5. But if what would happen is I'd see an artist again at a later festival and they'd recognize me and my work from earlier. And they, to the point where a couple people actually ended up paying me I was volunteering at the
Dude, that's
festival, but
sick.
hey, you can have stage access, you can do whatever you want. Just, capture's having a great time. And so,
Sure.
it's really cool. And so I will preface with this too. All of my music work and concert stuff has been in the Christian music scene. And honestly, I realize, there's probably a whole thing we can go under, but from my experience, those people are great. The managers are great, and the people are
Yeah.
very down to earth. And it's really great because they're just like, they're so open to meeting you
Sure.
and to seeing what you have to offer. Now it can get abused, but again, that's kind of the darker side of things, and I have not experienced that, and I'm definitely aware of that and being careful to watch out for
Sure.
that.
What what would you guess your biggest name is that you've worked with personally?
Dude.
Just out of curiosity. Just, I gotta know. I gotta know.
Okay, okay. Well, I was sending you the Skillet stuff earlier, so probably Skillet
Okay. I
the most
wondered.
well
I
known.
wondered. When
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
video you sent me, when I saw John Cooper made eye contact with you, I'm like, frick. I'm so jealous.
yeah,
That is awesome, man. I tell you what.
yeah. No, they're
Um,
great. They're great.
100%. Do you want to get more into the concert space or no?
Yeah, no, for sure. I do. And ultimately, the end goal, even the goal for this year, is to land a spot on a tour. Do I know how
Yeah,
that's going to happen? No, but I just know I want to get from here where I am now to being on a tour, and that's just gonna things that I'm gonna do practically. Keep on posting on my socials what I have, getting my work out there, and then continuing to search out because we're in the New England area here, shows that are coming to the area, and fortunately enough, there's a few shows I was mentioning. I was talking with Sam earlier before the show, that are coming, and I've already networked with them because of this last
mm,
summer. And so now I'm at the point where I can directly contact, hey, you guys are coming to my area. Can I come and capture some stuff? And so really it is just a waiting game, truth be told. And it's like, hey, whenever, like, I know the right time is going to come. I'm not going to force it, but I'm going to continue to grind and get better in my craft while I can, and learn while
sure.
I can too, because when you get out there, it's nonstop. And which I'm willing to see, and I want to see how I handle that. So we'll see.
Definitely. Now, are you looking to mainly stay in the more Christian sphere for music, or are you looking to go more on the secular side of things, or do both, or what are you looking for?
Um, Granted, I haven't made a ton of connections in the whole secular
Mm.
side of things, and I know that that could get kind of dicey as well with certain groups. Certainly, I want to stay in that Christian music avenue and
Yeah,
that realm, if you will.
sure.
So yeah, yeah,
Well, I'm guessing there's probably more of an opportunity and almost more of an open market on that side of things. I mean, for
right.
someone with your skill and your talent openly saying, "Hey guys, I'm available." I could be wrong. I'm ignorant on that side of things, but I'm guessing there's more of an open market there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's funny because a lot of people starting out, they see or hear free photos, and they're all for it.
Yeah,
And so that's the biggest draw. You have to, and I'll kind of get into a entrepreneurial side of things, but it's what I'm learning as a young business, 2-year-old business. Like you've got to, whatever craft you're in, you've got to start out doing stuff for free, doing it very humbly because there's always going to be someone better than you.
sure.
Um, but you got to learn to accept the fact that you're just starting out. You're not going to stay where you are forever. because and then you're finding your self-worth as well in your business. Like how much can I charge for something like this? And so
Mm,
pertaining to me, I've been learning, okay, how long does it take me to edit a concert photo, a gallery, or a recap video, and then
sure.
now knowing with this experience, last summer that I got, I can confidently say, all right, so I'm going to charge X amount for this day, or if you want to bring me out on a tour, my day rate is going to be this, and this is what you can
Mm.
expect.
Now, how long does okay, just one photo, like, let's say you had a stage view photo, how long does that usually take you to edit?
Oh, just a one singular photo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
So, dude, man, probably no longer than a minute and a minute and a half. So
Okay,
is really what takes up the most time with the whole photo thing is culling. It's called culling, and you're sorting through which
sure.
photos are not going to be used, which photos are blurry, or if that was just a garbage
Mm,
photo, I'm going to get rid of that. So, dude, I learned the hard way. I think my first festival I did this year, there was a headliner. I took like 700, 800 photos.
sheesh.
Ended up using about 300. So that was a not efficient time, use of
Mm,
time to cull through half of those 300 photos.
yeah,
Be like, okay, because that's just not helpful for anybody. And pertaining to when I do go out, like artists, they're going to be waiting, and they're going to you get the thing I've learned about the
yeah,
concert world is the quick turnaround. And so that's encouraged me a ton. I'm a procrastinator by nature, but if I know something needs to be done soon, I'll get it done in record
yeah,
time, or
exactly.
then I won't get it done until 6 months. It's
I
like
feel that.
so
Well, you have that
yeah.
structure, it's gonna be a lot more productive. I get that. So, how many photos do you usually think you have to take? I mean, I guess some of the mentality of rather have more than not enough. But you're saying that 700, it was either 7 or 800, you said that was way too much. So if you go to
Right.
like Soulfest and you're just at one concert there, how many
Hmm.
photos do you think you have to take?
Yeah, for one show, if it's going 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes, my goal would be to sit between 1 and 200 photos, and even that is kind of a lot, I'm sure. But I know that again, it's about the moment. It's not necessarily about quantity necessarily. It's about the
Mm,
quality, and that's
sure.
something that I've shifted my focus on too. Is like you can have a great photo, yeah, but what makes that great photo is a great moment. So not being stuck behind a lens and being oh, what is this going to look good in a frame or a composition,
Mm,
but kind of reading the room, or the people, the atmosphere, what's happening in the moment, and then
yeah.
looking for that, finding that, and then capturing it. That's what makes a great photo. And so yeah, because at the end of the day, these artists are only going to use maybe 8 photos at most for one post about the night. Say they were at Soulfest, they had such great time at Soulfest. Here are 8 photos, and where I could have sent them 100, and they liked only 8, which is fine. That's my job, and so they have enough to work through.
Yeah. Now, do you like make a select few that are selected like, hey guys, these would be the best of the best, but here's a really good collective? Do you send them like just a select few, or how many do you, if you had an
So
artist, how many do you usually send to them in the final project?
yeah,
You
so
might have already
typically is
mentioned
what
that.
no, yeah, that's a good. But typically is what I'll do if I have like a favorite one. Then again, so I'm at a festival and I just took a photo. I'm like, gosh, this one is like my favorite one I've ever taken. I'm gonna
Yeah.
put that on my story, on my Instagram story, tag the artist, knowing that I did not look through the other 100 photos, but just so I can grab their attention and get something
Yeah.
up soon, because they're looking for something to post soon, right away. They're
Yeah.
not. If I send them their photos 3 weeks later, they may use them, but they're not going to be covering that event that happened 3 weeks earlier. It's
Sure.
just it's just
Sure.
not relevant anymore. So typically, yeah, between 75 and 100 is fully edited photos is what I'll hand off to an artist, depending on how long the show was.
So 75 to 100 is usually the package you give them. What's the turnaround time? So I know you mentioned like a 3 week time frame is too much, but is it
Right,
2 hours, 12 hours, 24, 48? How much
right,
time do you have
right.
after an
Um,
event?
ho- Honestly, no more than 24 hours is what I try to aim for.
Sure.
So yeah.
So I'm guessing that's the event ends and you're automatically sitting there on the mat getting things updated and
Dude,
edited.
absolutely. So I'll tell you
Jeez.
this. So at Soulfest, when Skillet was on stage,
Mm,
they're the headliner, and they're the headliner for the night. and John Cooper comes out with cryo gloves, and he's got the stuff, the CO2 or whatever. I don't know what you
Mm.
call it, hooked to his arms. He sprays, and I had a friend, that told me when it was coming, so I was ready. I was shoulder to shoulder up in the front, and like just so hot, and I'm like, dude, just get me out of here. But I had my shot ready. I knew he was
Yeah,
walking up, and he lets that thing go, and I just slammed the shutter. And so, but I knew I had my shot, so I booked it back to the office area and made an edit, posted on Instagram, so that when they came off the stage, they saw that and they're like, "Whoa, that's from tonight
interesting.
already," and then that's how it caught their interest as well.
So you didn't get the entire night, but you knew you had a good collection of good shots already. So you said, okay, sacrifice the rest of the concert. I'm going to get these good shots ready so that Cooper and the rest of the team see it immediately.
And sometimes that's what it takes. And
Yeah.
again, for that instance, I came back out later, but I did. I missed a chunk. You got to be good with missing a chunk of that show because
Yeah.
they're not going to need a picture from every song. Just the key moments.
Sure. Sure. Well, especially that opening. If it caught the attention of the audience right there at the beginning, you best believe it's going to catch the attention of the audience on social media as well. That
Yeah,
makes
and
sense.
absolutely. You're not only trying to get the attention of the artist, but the people that are there. Say, at Soul Fest, there was 5, 6,000 people there. You post it and it gets circulating. They're like, oh, and they're sharing it. Oh, someone captured this sick moment. I
Mm,
was there, I was present. And it's just, another way to get your video out there, your name out there. And yeah.
that's awesome. Okay, so yeah, I know I asked like what was the biggest name. What was your favorite concert to take photos of? Because every concert has special attributes. I went to a Mercy Me concert and it was definitely focused on the worship. Yet Casting Crowns, a similar group, was just as many flashy lights as Skillet would have. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I know there's a lot of different tastes in very similar styles of music. What was your favorite event to photograph?
Dude, I've got to say, every time I see Four King Country, they blow me away. They blow me away. Their
Yeah,
level
I've
of
heard good things of them.
excellence, um, they are just unreal. You have to see them for yourself if you haven't. But you can look up, videos of
Yeah.
like their little drummer boy. Their recent Christmas tour, I did not get to go to a show, but they had this insane, like chandelier type thing where they're like rising and floating down, and it's like you got to look up videos of it. It's insane. But
Sure.
them and Toby Mac as well has a killer live performance. Again, his attention to detail and excellence is top notch, and
Yeah,
that's always
I've
blows me
always
away.
heard good things about those two. Have you
Yeah.
photographed them in particular?
Yep. For
Yes.
King
Yeah.
Country, I saw 3 times this year, and then or this
Mm,
last year, and then Toby Mac I saw once, but unbelievable. My
yeah.
mind was blown every time.
Now, are there a lot of the events right here in Maine, or are you usually having to travel further? I know, like Soulfest is Guilford, New Hampshire. We mentioned them earlier.
Right. Right. Yeah. So basically, throughout New England is where I'm primarily kind of looking for stuff. However,
Mm,
if I get commissioned to go elsewhere, absolutely. There was a smaller artist that reached out to me that I'd met 2 years ago at my very first festival. I mentioned I was just taking pictures for fun. So flash forward to 2022, and this guy DMs me, "Hey, I've got a show in Pennsylvania. I'll pay you to come out. I'll buy your ticket, your plane ticket, and give you a place to stay." And so I was down there on not on my dime, and
yeah.
I was capturing just for him, not for the festival. So that was great. I was only focused on following him around and what he was doing. So yeah, Pennsylvania. One of my favorite festivals this year was in Buffalo, New York. It's called Kingdom Bound, and that's
Sure.
at an amusement park at Six Flags Darien Lake, and this huge kind of amphitheater thing. But that was a ton of fun as well. Probably um, gosh, I could be wrong, but 8 to 9,000 people 4 nights, and
Jeez.
it's like it's insane. Middle of summer,
Yeah,
there's nothing better.
dude, that's so cool. So mainly the New England environment, but basically, if someone says, "Hey, we'll take care of it," you can travel.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, anywhere.
Definitely.
And yeah, yeah.
How many shows are usually in Maine? Like you got in the summer, how many shows do you usually hit?
Well, dude, I don't know if there's one show in Maine this last summer. So I was driving
Jeez.
to New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Vermont. Man, I went to Vermont once, Burlington, Vermont. That was a 5.5 hour drive, no highway except for like the first
Holy.
30 minutes. So that was brutal, but it was fun. It was worth it. Um,
Yeah.
but this winter's promising. I know it doesn't sound like a ton, but really it is for us. I think there's like 3 or 4 that I'm looking forward to, which is huge because
Yeah.
sometimes Bangor, Maine is not on everyone's artist. That's not on their list really typically.
Yeah.
So because you gotta sell enough tickets to make
Exactly.
your money back and how all that works. But
Sure. Now, okay, so we've talked a lot about concerts, and you're definitely vested in the culture there. So when there's not a concert, so you mentioned like there's what 3 or 4 concerts here in the state this winter. What do
right.
you do in the meantime?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the holidays were kind of slow, and that's fine because I needed it. But I'm working part time with my church as well, so that's a very consistent thing, and it
Yep.
also gives me the freedom creatively to experiment and try different things that I might not try, with a well-known artist. Because if I fail, then whoops, there goes all my photos or all my videos.
Yep.
So it kind of gives me the freedom to try new things.
Sure.
And so I'm also actively, seeing what's trending on social media and what's working, what's not for that job as well. And that carries over
Mm,
to my personal business as well. So it all goes hand in hand. And so it does keep me busy, keeps my
yep.
creative juices going, trying to think of new things. And um, also, I'm in the middle of updating my website, which whenever this goes live, hopefully I'll have my updated website ready that
Sure.
we can kind of direct you guys to. But and just making sure that people are seeing what I'm doing, what I'm capable of currently, and not because if you go to my website now, you'll see what I did back in April 2022, and that's about it. So
Okay.
there's a
Sure.
lot of
Sure.
time that needs to be, and a lot of photos that need to be added onto there, and a lot of projects and a lot of
hundred
experience that can
percent.
be added to that portfolio. So
Definitely. Um. So, are there like specific gigs you look for though? Like in between concerts, obviously you're updating social media, updating the website, seeing what worked, what didn't. But if you've got a week that's pretty empty, what would you look for to fill that time? Like if you were going to go photograph something, what would you look for?
yeah, so that's a great question. And I haven't done enough of this. I want to do more on the marketing side of like Facebook. Hey, I'm offering, we just got snow. I'm going to do some winter mini sessions. It's going to be this amount. I'm doing these on this day. Slots are going to fill up quick, reach out and, hit me up for more information. Or right now it's basketball season, high school basketball season.
Yeah,
I enjoy capturing that. And then you get the attention of schools. You reach out to different schools. Hey, are you interested in having a photographer at your games? And then see, it's always worth asking. The worst that's going to happen is they're going to say no.
yeah, 100%. Very cool. Very, very cool. So it sounds like you're really just trying to get your name out there so that way you're recognizable and you've got the quality content, but now it's a name recognition game. Am I correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. And it's also to like being mindful of how am I going to continue to sustain myself as this goes on, and at what point do I need to reassess if things just really aren't working.
Mm,
But again, I'm motivated, determined to make sure that this does sustain me. And yeah, there's definitely slow weeks, like with real estate, for example. I'll have 2 or 3 realtors reach out to me the same day, and I'll have a week of doing a couple properties and I won't hear from anybody for another 2 weeks. And it's just kind of
sure.
fluctuates. And that's kind of how the whole freelance thing works. And it definitely took a little bit to adjust to that and be like,
Mm,
I'm not going under. I'm just going to be all right. But just continue to be ready, stay on your toes, and you're going to get the call.
sure. Well, it sounds like there's a lot of patience to it. I mean, yeah, 100%. So a lot of patience, a lot of waiting, probably a lot of fiscal responsibility that has to go into that. If you're living off of this, you got to be like, okay, I might have a full week, but holy shoot, that may not happen the next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Right. Yeah, you're right.
Now, is there a certain time of the year that's better business wise or no?
Oh, summer and fall. I mean, 100%. I'm going, 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 and it's great because I love it. But then, the winter months, definitely December. I did not have a ton going on, which is okay. It gave me time to rest and kind of slow down. But it's also like, okay, what can I do now? So yeah, the winter months are definitely slower. And that kind of also correlates directly with the whole wedding season and summer festivals, music festivals, and whatnot.
Yeah.
Tours are getting back going for the winter and the spring. Again, in December, you don't have a ton of those going on because everyone's kind of relaxing and they're home for the holidays. So
Sure. Now, I remember you mentioned like weddings. Is that something you're phasing out or continuing regularly,
yeah,
or
yeah, no, that's a great question. And so to kind of answer that, I will start with this. Like, I'm trying to post uh, things to attract a certain demographic and audience. So
mm,
that's why I don't post my weddings. I do on Facebook. Because you'll post
sure.
a wedding video on Facebook and the whole family will share that, and then you get a couple thousand views and some new followers, and it's funny at nearly every wedding I'm at, someone comes up, hey, I'm getting married with so and so. Are you going to be available on this day? And so like one wedding leads to another wedding, and it's kind of funny how
Yeah,
that works.
sure.
Um, but I totally forgot what you just asked. If I'm being
No, it's
honest.
okay. That kind of actually made me think of another question. So you mentioned like Facebook. You post a lot about the
Yes.
weddings on Facebook, but I'm guessing Instagram not as much.
Right. Not the wedding
Okay.
side. No. I mean,
So with that, what I'm guessing there's different demographics on Facebook versus Instagram versus other platforms. What do you usually post on the different platforms?
yeah. So Facebook, it's just the fact is that there's more, there's an older age range on Facebook that's active. Um, and so I'm going to be posting more of the weddings or more of the senior photos, the family photos, because the parents are going to see it, the grandparents are going to see it. And that's just the truth of the matter. Not a lot of young people are on Facebook. And so on Instagram, I'm posting those flashy things, the concert stuff, the stuff that
Mm,
will get traction on algorithms, that which is always hit or miss. But kind of the young people, and because you can
definitely.
build. It's just it's proven itself in the last 2-3 years. You can build more of an audience on TikTok and Instagram now more than ever. And so a lot of young people are on there. So,
Sure.
but yeah, Facebook's very important because you don't want to leave that older age range out by any means, because they're at the end of the day,
100%.
the kids aren't going to be paying you to take their photos. The parents are, and the
Yeah.
families are. So
Sure. And you're probably more apt to actually, I want to know. I'm not going to make that a statement. I'm going to ask, are you more apt to get like an artist's attention on Facebook or Instagram? Because part of me wants to say Instagram, but you've also got a massive niche market, especially for Christian artists on Facebook.
yeah, I mean, I've only attracted or only drawn in an artist from my Instagram page. However, the Facebook pages, like Mercy Muse page, they'll like my photo if I do it, and they've got 2-3 million followers, and so it's kind of
Mm,
crazy. It's like, well, they see my little account, but very rarely will I tag someone on Facebook and then their account will see it. It's just because it just works so differently.
yeah,
So yeah, definitely excuse me, Instagram is kind of where I'll reach those and try to get their attention.
sure. Now, you mentioned weddings, so that's mainly on Facebook, not Instagram. Is Instagram mainly just music, like concerts and stuff, or is there anything else that gets uploaded to Instagram?
Yeah, I mean, I'll post some like street photography or some like urban stuff. I did senior photos for my brothers in downtown, and that kind of matches the. So it's also building a brand. You can't go to a Facebook
Mm,
page. I mean, you can go to a Facebook page and see their photos and everything, but on Instagram it's laid out in a grid, and so I kind of want that similarity and that similar colors and looks and
sure.
feelings throughout my whole thing, whatever it is that I may be posting. So yeah, Instagram is mainly only concerts, and also a lot of people on Instagram aren't going to watch a 5-minute wedding video. It's just the truth, sadly.
Yeah,
However, on Facebook, I'm more apt to watch a longer video on Facebook than I am on Instagram. Instagram is just that
100%.
30-second, 60-second, clips. But
Yeah. Now, you mentioned weddings on Facebook. What else? Is that mainly your wedding platform, or is there other things? Like I'm guessing. I think you mentioned like senior photos. Would those be more apt to be on Facebook as well?
absolutely, yeah. Senior photos, family photos, and
Mm,
I'll still post concert stuff on Facebook, and my friends will like seeing that for sure. Um, but at the end of the day, they're just going to see it and think it's cool. They're not about to, unfortunately, be like, "Oh, you know what? You should come photograph my concert," because they don't have a band. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's kind of that.
Now we've mentioned like senior photos, weddings, concerts. Is there anything else you usually go along to? I think you might have mentioned something else in the beginning. I'm trying to remember. Was there like any other quote gigs you get that really stick out, or is that your three
Um,
niche markets?
so, well, I will say this: the sports photography.
That's
I
what you mentioned.
did,
Yeah.
yep. I did most of that just for my brothers and just kind of having fun with it, no pressure. However,
Mm.
last year, back in February, the state of Maine has the high school basketball tournaments, and I mean every school in the area is coming to Bangor or Southern Maine for those playoff tournaments, and I
Yeah.
got a media pass and I could just sit down, take photos of the teams, tag the teams, tag maybe the students, and then they reshare them, their parents see them. And so many people reached out, hey, we have a team photographer, but your photos were so great. And it's like, well, that's always like good to hear that, something that tickles your ears, but it meant a lot because I'm like, okay, I'm actually
Mm.
doing what I'm supposed to and I'm trying to achieve this
Sure.
goal and it looks like I'm hitting that. And so again, I did all those for free last year. And it was just networking. And I have to go back and look, but my following on Instagram increased rapidly. And it's just those local, people, those local students or athletes that are following the page and seeing, dang, he's posting cool stuff. And that's what I'm trying to do, draw the eyes of the younger people. What would I want to see if I'm playing basketball? Would I want to see a cool
Mm.
video, some photos, or would I want to see a traditional photo that might be a newspaper photo? No, I'm not going to want to. No disrespect against that, but I'm just looking for what's going to
Sure.
catch people's eye, catch young people's eye.
Yeah, I think that's a huge thing. It's part of the reason I'm doing what I'm doing. You know, I worked for over a year in conservative politics, and you mentioned the newspaper photo versus the Instagram post.
Hmm.
There's definitely a generational disconnect in many areas of our lives. For me, it was the conservative politics side of things where it was Facebook and Twitter, and that's pretty much it, and a couple other platforms. But
Sure.
Instagram was barely used, and TikTok wasn't touched. And it took us getting absolutely shellacked this last election cycle. Two
Yeah.
fantastic candidate signs behind me, and neither one of them won.
Hmm.
And that was a huge thing. The
Yeah.
campaign tactics didn't work with younger people. And so I think you're seeing another area in culture and public life where, maybe the old school newspaper style photos for sporting events and other different events aren't working anymore. That's
Right.
I honestly, I wouldn't have picked up on that. That's another reason I'm liking doing these interviews. Got to wrap it up
Sure.
soon, but I'm liking doing these interviews to not necessarily just always comment on the culture, but get the views of people that are actively in the culture, that
Mm.
are
Yeah.
part of the culture. So I can get their views, their opinions, and their hands on experiences of this is what I'm doing, this is how it affects certain people, this is how I'm reaching people, and where can I go from here? So,
Right. Right.
yeah. If you want to sum it up, what's your business? Where do you plan to go, and how can people reach you?
Yes, that's a great closing statement. Yeah, libbyfilms.com. That's my website. And then you can find me on Instagram. I'm most active on Instagram, Tyler Libby Film. And then my Facebook page is Libby Films as well. I'm a photographer, videographer, freelancer. If you got any video or photo needs, hit me up. And more so down the concert avenue and realm. That's what I love to do and hope to be a tour photographer someday. So yeah, that's that.
Awesome deal. This is absolutely fantastic. Thanks, Ty. We really appreciate it. Thank you guys, and have a fantastic afternoon. Goodbye.